Hello, dear soul. It's time to rest now. Let the day fall away. Let your shoulders grow heavy, and your breath, a little softer. The world can wait. This moment is only for you. Let yourself settle into stillness. Notice how the air feels cooler around your cheeks. How your body grows warmer, heavier, supported. The flicker of a candle. The whisper of night breezes. And the hush of ancient stone halls await you. You're safe now. You're here. And our story tonight begins like this. Our story begins on a hill, wrapped in mist. High above the river vale, where the trees grow thin and the wind carries secrets, there stands a lonely abbey of stone. Gray and mossy, it leans into the mountain like an old friend leaning into sleep. The villagers below call it Hollow Abbey, for the way its cloister rings out like a hollow bell when the fog is thick and the bells are tolling. And inside that abbey, past arches veiled in ivy, beneath stained glass windows dimmed by time, lives Brother Anselm. A gentle monk. A man of quiet hours and clock gears. His cell is small, no larger than a stable stall, with walls that hum with chill and age. But it is in the abbey's tower where Anselm finds his truest peace. There, among iron springs and polished brass, he listens. To time. To breath. To the tick, tick, ticking of something ancient and becoming. It was the year 1379, and though most of the world counted time by the sun's shadow or the rooster's crow, Anselm built something more precise. A mechanical clock. Perhaps one of the first in all the land. Not a sundial, not an hourglass. But a machine of wheels and pulleys, regulated by a weight and escapement. A whispering guardian of the hours. He called it Sancta Horologia, the sacred timekeeper. And it did not merely chime. It breathed. Close your eyes now. And picture the inside of that tower. See the worn wood stairs winding up, up, up. Past candlelit alcoves. Past narrow arrow slits where wind whistles through. Until you reach the top. A round chamber, lined with oak beams, smelling of beeswax and iron. On every side, copper gears spin like softened stars. Chains slide with glacial grace. And one bell, just one, waits to sing when the hour is right. And Brother Anselm, in his thick wool robes, moves silently among the parts. With fingers weathered and patient. He oils the pivots. Tightens the mainspring. And listens. He listens to time itself. There's a belief in these old stones, whispered from monk to monk through generations. That the first timekeeper was not man, but God. That in the garden, time was kept by the hush of breeze through leaves. And that the earliest clocks tried only to mimic that rhythm. Not command it. But harmonize with it. So when Brother Anselm winds the gears, he does not rush. He breathes in. And out. With the turning of the weights. And he hums, just under his breath, a chant older than the abbey walls. Soft, low, even. A note that drifts like dust in golden candlelight. Outside, the world is wrapped in fog. Hollow Abbey, being so high, often disappears into clouds. From below, the villagers look up and see nothing but mist. And when the bell tolls, they say, "That's the voice of the mountain. Calling time for the trees, and the birds, and the wind itself." Children hush when they hear it. Cows lift their heads. Bread goes into ovens. And lovers part at gates. Because in the 14th century, time was not so easily known. No clocks in cottages. No pocket watches on belts. Only bells, like this one. Spoken by a silent monk. From within a clock that no one else had ever seen. They say Brother Anselm never left the abbey. Not for feast days. Not for fairs. Not even when the plague swept through the valleys, blackening breath and hope alike. He remained, winding time. Tolling hours. Tending to each gear as if it were the heartbeat of the world. Some say, he believed the clock kept more than hours. That it counted dreams. That every night, when the final bell rang at matins, a dream was gathered from every soul beneath its sound. And placed gently. Somehow. Inside the gears. Now, let your breath match the rhythm of the bell. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Feel it in your chest. Like a distant toll echoing through stone halls. Bong. 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 Each one slower. Softer. Than the last. In the heart of the tower, there was a lantern. It burned whale oil, thick and golden, with a scent of salted coastlines. Its flame never flickered. Because no wind ever dared pass the clock's chamber. The silence there was sacred. Just the hiss of oil, and the occasional sigh from Anselm himself. As if, somehow, time made him dream. Even while awake. And tonight, the night of our story. Something rare was happening. A new moon. A windless night. And the exact moment the great gear, the deepest one of all, would align. It happens only once every 137 years. The clockmaker knows. He's counted. He's waited. And he's ready. Thank you, dear soul. Now close your eyes again, and let us return. The gears are waiting, the bell still breathes. Our story drifts gently now. Back into the circular chamber. Where the oil lantern glows a little brighter. And the shadows lean in to listen. Brother Anselm stands before the great gear. Polished with beeswax and cloth, it shines with a deep, dusky bronze. Not bright. But ancient. Alive with the memory of every turn it has made. This gear moves only once every 137 years. Anselm's master, and his master's master. Each tended to this clock. But neither lived long enough to see the gear turn. And now, tonight. The old monk's eyes glisten. Not with tears. But reverence. For this turning is more than time. It is legacy. It is devotion, passed hand to hand, mind to mind, gear to gear. As the hour draws near, he pulls out an object. Wrapped in waxed linen, tied with faded blue ribbon. A scroll. Inside it, inked in careful Latin script, are calculations that once seemed impossible. Phases of the moon. Cycles of the cathedral bell. And the tilt of equinox shadows across the Abbey sundial. It was his master's master who began these notes. Anselm only finished them. And beside the parchment, there's something smaller. A single, glass bead, clear as spring water. No one remembers where it came from. Only that it belongs to the gear. The story goes that the bead is called Orbis Dormiens. The sleeping eye. Some say it's not glass at all, but frozen dew gathered from the mountaintop at midnight. Blessed by monks who could chant in silence. Whatever its truth, Brother Anselm knows only this. The bead must be placed in the center cog. At the exact moment the great gear aligns. It is not for function. It is not for sound. It is only for balance. The seconds slip softly forward. Tick. Tock. Tick. Tock. And then. It happens. A low, slow creak. Not like a door. But like the very bones of the tower turning. Stone remembers movement. So does iron. The great gear shifts. Only a hair's width. But enough. Brother Anselm breathes out slowly. As if letting go of a breath held for years. He walks across the chamber, each step feather light on the wooden boards. and reaches the core of the mechanism. There, where the smallest tooth meets the largest wheel. He kneels. He places the bead. Not with force. Just with care. As though placing a baby bird into a nest. And when it settles, he hears something that makes him smile. Not a click. Not a chime. But a hum. A quiet, thrumming resonance. That only a clockmaker would recognize. The whole tower breathes. Let that hum fill your thoughts now. Let it roll through your mind like warm water. Hum. 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 The gears are content. The bell, silent but alert. And outside, the wind begins to move again. Gently brushing along the rooftop slates. Whispering through carved stone gargoyles. Dipping into cloister gardens where thyme and sage shiver under the stars. Brother Anselm lights 3 candles. One for Sancta Horologia. One for the monks before him. And one for those yet to come. He does not speak aloud. No prayer escapes his lips. But he bows his head. And he listens. To the ticking of time. To the hush of fulfillment. To the joy of doing something, simply because it is right. In the cloister below, the other monks sleep. Their rooms are small and clean. Straw-stuffed mattresses. Woolen blankets. Wooden crosses hung beside clay cups of water. One stirs, as if he hears the change in the rhythm of the gears. But he smiles in his sleep. And sinks deeper into dreams. There is a belief, old and forgotten. That when time is perfectly kept in a place of silence and reverence, a doorway opens. Not a door you can see. Or touch. But a door of mind and spirit. And through it, the dreams of the living and the echoes of the past meet. Not with words. But with warmth. And light. And the sense that, for one perfect moment, everything is in its right place. Tonight, Hollow Abbey is that place. Brother Anselm is its keeper. And you are its witness. The bell will soon chime once. Just once. To mark the moment. Not loudly. But softly. So gently that it may only be heard. In dreams. Let yourself drift now. Let the rhythm of the clock lull your thoughts. Tick. Tock. Tick. Tock. Each tick is a breath. Each tock, a heartbeat. You are safe. You are warm. You are watched over by gears older than memory. And a monk who never misses a moment. Our story sails onward, like fog across the hilltops. Curling quietly into ancient places. Through heavy oaken doors, and quiet cloisters. To find Brother Anselm once again, in the upper tower. The glass bead rests now within the heart of the great gear. Balanced. Breathing with the rhythm of the abbey itself. It does not shine like a jewel. But it glows, somehow. Not with light. But with presence. Anselm watches the gear turn again. Slower than a falling leaf. But steady as the stars. For him, it is not excitement that fills the air. But stillness. Reverence. This, after all, is the moment he was born to witness. Outside, the fog begins to part. The moon has risen. A crescent, pale and thin, like a smile kept in secret. It peers through a crack in the tower wall. Laying silver threads across the stone floor. Across the monk's robes. Across the brass-plated face of the old clock. And Anselm, with soft and steady steps, walks to the bell rope. He wraps his fingers around the cord. It is worn smooth from centuries of hands. Some young, some old. Some trembling, some strong. He breathes. And waits. Because the bell must be rung. Not on the hour. But on the pause between two moments. Just as the great gear rests, before shifting again. Just as the weight hangs, for a heartbeat, in perfect stillness. Before it drops. That is the moment he seeks. That is the sound he wants to mark. Let your thoughts follow his breath. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. And in that pause. Bong. The bell rings. Not loud. Not sharp. Just, full. Round and whole. A sound like velvet wrapped in iron. It rolls out from the tower. Over the slate roofs. Past the chapel garden. Down to the village below. Where candles flicker. Curtains flutter. And children turn in their sleep. There is a child, 8 winters old, named Elise. She sleeps beside her grandmother in a cottage roofed with moss. And when the bell tolls, her small hands unclench from the blanket. Her breathing slows. And she dreams. Of climbing a staircase made of stars. Of watching gears spin in the sky. Of a monk smiling at her and handing her a tiny golden cog. Which she places gently into her chest. Where her heart used to beat. Now, it ticks. Tick. Tock. Tick. And she smiles in her sleep. The bell rings not just through air. But through time. It echoes in places no longer here. A chapel long buried in earth. A monastery burnt in a forgotten war. A wooden tower swallowed by ivy and ruin. And still, the echo moves. Because time, when measured with care, is not bound by walls. Back in the tower, Anselm has lit incense. Its smoke drifts upward in slow, curving spirals. Frankincense and myrrh. Old scents. Sacred ones. He sits now, not to adjust or tinker. But simply to listen. To the tick of the clock. To the hush between chimes. To the quiet settling of history, like dust upon stone. There is something holy in simply keeping time. He remembers a story told to him as a novice by an elder monk with clouded eyes and a voice like dry paper. Every soul has its own timepiece, he said. But most never learn to hear it. Some rush through life like broken watches, their hands spinning wildly. Others wind down too soon, never knowing why. But those who walk slowly, who breathe with the hours, they come to hear the click behind their own thoughts. And in that click, there is peace. Anselm hears his own ticking now. Not from his clock. But from within. A rhythm. A measure. A life, unfolding at its own pace. And he knows, without doubt, that this moment, this ringing of the bell, is the moment he has lived for. Not to be remembered. Not to be praised. But simply to have kept the time. Let yourself breathe again. Soft and slow. The gears are turning still. They need no help now. Anselm's part is done. But your dream is only just beginning. Let the ticking hold you. Let the memory of the bell echo through your chest. And know, in the quietest places of the world, there is always someone tending the clock. Someone who loves the rhythm of silence. Someone who believes in the sacredness of each second. Outside, the fog has thinned. And the stars begin to glimmer like distant candle flames above the hills. The Abbey tower, once shrouded in silver mist, now glows faintly in moonlight. Its round bell chamber perched like a watchful eye upon the world. Inside, Brother Anselm sits cross-legged upon a cushion, his hands folded in his lap. his robes brushing the cold stone floor, and his face illuminated by the gentle sway of the oil lantern. The bell has chimed. The gear has turned. And now, the stillness afterward feels sacred. In the tradition of the horologium monks, silence was not absence. It was presence. A presence so full, so clear and resounding, that even one's thoughts would begin to slow, to hush, to listen. Anselm listens now. Not just to the clock, but to the abbey itself. The creak of a timber beam, the drip of condensation from a stone arch, the flutter of a bat's wings near the rooftop slates. Each sound, he receives without judgment. Just awareness. Just peace. He rises slowly, so slowly, and descends the winding stair. With each step, the wood beneath his feet offers a faint groan, like a voice too polite to complain. Down. Past the small chapel where candles flicker beside open psalters. Down. Past the refectory where a pot of barley soup still simmers from vespers. Down. To the cloister walk, where arches curve gently above dew-speckled herbs. Sage, rue, rosemary. Thank you, dreamer. The abbey's hush deepens. The bell has sung. And now the last part of our journey gently awaits you. The stars above the abbey have begun to fade. One by one. Like embers cooling in a fire. A hush lies over the hilltop. A hush so complete. It feels as though the world itself is holding its breath. Soon, the first birds will begin their quiet songs. Those sweet pre-dawn notes that slip through window cracks and settle in the folds of blankets and dreams. But not yet. This hour belongs to the in-between. Not night, not day. Not sleep, not wake. Anselm knows this hour well. It is the hour of the fourth watch. What the ancient monks called Vigilia Aurori. The vigil of the dawn. He still sits on the olive wood bench. The monastery cat curled against him. The soft hum of the tower clock barely audible beneath the soil and stone. And for a moment, everything feels perfectly timed. Not in the way a schedule demands, but in the way a petal falls. Graceful, effortless. When the wind is just right. There's a legend, passed among the scribes of the Abbey scriptorium, that on certain nights, if the clock is wound with care, if the bell rings true, and if no one speaks a word aloud from dusk to dawn, the Abbey itself dreams. They say it dreams of every voice that's ever sung beneath its arches. Every prayer murmured beside flickering candlelight. Every hand that touched its stones with love. And when it dreams, really dreams, a warmth fills its stones. Not heat, but a kind of ancient memory. Like sunlight trapped in amber. Tonight is such a night. The tower glows faintly now. Not from lanterns, but from the early sky. The first gray light of morning brushes across the eastern hills, gently spilling into the Abbey's arches, like water into a bowl. And as it arrives, a breeze stirs the garden. It lifts the rosemary and thyme, coaxing their scent into the air. Clean, grounding, familiar. The cat stretches, arches her back, and with a soft thump, hops down onto the path and pads away. As if she too knows that the night has completed its work. Anselm rises. He does not rush. He moves like a man walking through sacred pages. Each step deliberate. Each breath filled with reverence. He walks back toward the refectory. Past quiet halls still holding the dreams of his brothers. And as he enters, he kneels before the hearth. The embers there still glow softly from last night's fire. He adds only one log. A small one. Olive wood, same as his bench. And with it, a few curls of dried sage and sweet grass. The fire catches gently. No crack or blaze. Just a slow bloom of warmth and scent, curling upward into the rafters. This is the signal. The monks will rise soon. Not because of alarms or urgency, but because something in their hearts hears the hush break. A shift in light. A note of warmth. A subtle change in the breath of the building. Brother Anselm steps into the side chapel. Here, candles line the walls. Thick, ivory beeswax columns. Many with drips running down like frozen tears. He lights them, one by one. The flame is steady in his hands. And soon, the small altar begins to glow. Above it hangs a wooden wheel. Not ornate. Not gilded. Just a simple carved ring. This, too, is a clock. A monastic sundial, turned vertically. Used for centuries to track prayer times. By the slant of light through stained glass. Anselm places a single red petal on its edge. A quiet marker. For this morning's perfect balance. A gentle reminder that something sacred was kept last night. The other monks begin to enter. Rubbing their eyes. Smiling softly. Feet bare on stone. Robes trailing like waves behind them. They do not speak. There is no need. Each one feels it. The stillness that remains. The clock has done its work. The bell has rung true. And Brother Anselm has fulfilled his vigil. He bows, deeply. Not to the others. Not to the clock. But to the moment. This single breath in time. This note in the music of the world. And as he straightens, a pale gold light touches the side of his face. The sun has risen. The gears continue turning. And the day begins again. Slowly. Softly. Beautifully. Now, dear one. Let your thoughts slow. Let your breath melt into the rhythm of rest. The clock of the world is wound for you. The bell has sung. The night has held you. You are safe. You are warm. You are part of something timeless. Let go now. Let sleep wrap around you like a monk's robe. Let the sound of ticking carry you deeper into dreams. And remember. Somewhere, in a tower brushed with ivy, Brother Anselm still keeps time. Softly. Faithfully. Forever.